What's up, my friend? David Moss Jr. here, and in today's video, I want to give you a step-by-step guide and answer some frequently asked questions on the sweat tent sauna. We're going to go through the regular standard sweat tent and the sweat tent XL. We're going to talk about some of the differences to help give you a guide to decide which sweat tent sauna is best for you. We've got a lot to do, so let's jump right in. And hey, after today's video, if you decide you want to buy one of the sweat tents we go over or any of the accessories that we go over in this video, there will be an exclusive link and discount code down in the description below. And yes, Sweat Tent is a sponsor of my channel, so when you do purchase using my link and discount code, I get a small commission and it helps support my channel so I can keep making content like this. So I really appreciate it. Now let's jump right in. So the first thing we're gonna do is talk about the standard sweat tent. And what we're gonna do first, before we go through the details, is I'm gonna show you exactly how to set this up. So you might notice that I already have everything out. When you do purchase this, you're gonna get the stove, you're gonna get a bag with everything you need to get hot. Now there are two different bundles. There's the standard bundle and then there's the pro bundle. I do recommend the pro bundle because you get the foldable bench, which is awesome, and a bunch of other accessories. I do have full reviews of both of these products separately where I go over all of the accessories. I'll have them linked at the end of this video if you want to get really granular on all of the little details of each specifically. This video is more of a guide showing you the differences between both and going over the setup of both, because that is a big part of owning a sweat tent. They are both portable. You can take either of these saunas with you. I've actually taken my saunas with me on different vacations that we drive to, and it has become a staple in our travels. One of the things that makes that possible is these are just like tents. Comes in a nice little portable bag. You can fold everything up, put it in that bag, keep everything you need in that bag, minus the stove and the rocks and the bench. The cool thing about this stove is this big flute you see up top does come apart, and you can fit it all inside the stove, so it's actually really easy to travel with. You are just gonna have to take note that you'll have a bag with your tent. You will have a big brick, which is also known as your stove. It does have the foldable legs as well. If you bring the rocks to create steam, you're gonna want those, and then you're gonna want space for your bench. So it is a little bit to travel with, but it's not impossible, and it is so nice to be able to bring a 200-degree sauna with you on your trips. The setup and teardown of both saunas is gonna be very similar, but let's go ahead and jump right into the setup of the standard sweat tent sauna. The first thing I wanna point out is when I originally built my sweat tent sauna, I did put mine up inside out. And I know it probably happens to more people, so I wanna give you this one little tip. When you get this, it is going to be basically inside out, which is kind of how it folds up. You're gonna have these sticks that are out here, and you're gonna see these sticks. These sticks are designed to be on the inside of the tent. So what you're gonna do, what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna show you, these little things are not your base. They look like they're gonna be a base or something, so you automatically assume that's how it gets set up, but it is not how it gets set up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find a corner, and we're actually going to just pull it to where it kind of looks a little weird. And this is where it kind of can get a little, oh, I think I have it inside out. I think I might have it wrong. It's actually way easier than you think. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. We're just gonna step in here and grab the first little pull that we can find. And it's gonna create almost like a little umbrella. You just grab one of these little tie downs and you just pull it. It's gonna seem like you're breaking it, but you're not. Then we're going to move it around and find another one. And at first it might seem like you're breaking it, but once again, you're not. Ugh. We're gonna pop this little guy out. Once you get like 3 of them popped out, it becomes really easy. Pop the top. Pop the other side. This is where it wants to fold in on itself, which is what makes it easy to tear down, and one of the things that make it super portable. And then I'm gonna pull this last piece. The original sweat tent sauna is set up. I'll go over a little bit more of the features real quick, but this is the time where you can unzip it and actually set it where you want it, which is what I'm gonna do. Super lightweight. I'm gonna move it over here. Boom. That looks really good. I think it's super important to note that none of the equipment you're seeing in this video is brand new. It has been used and it has been abused for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I believe this sweat tent is over 6 months old, and it's lived outside in Florida, in the sun, in the elements, so it is gonna have a little bit of fading. And then once we set up the XL, you're gonna see I've had this for over a year. I was one of the first people to receive the sweat tent XL. This is the original. So you're gonna get to see what they look like after abuse, because I really don't take care of my stuff. All right, well, speaking of that, now let's set up the XL, which is gonna take a little bit more finesse, but it's not too hard. So just like the standard, you're gonna get a carrying bag that everything will fit into. You're gonna get 4 big silver holes. They may come in more than 4. I have mine inside each other already. They fit inside each other, and the instruction manuals are extremely easy. So have no fear, this isn't a hard setup. Then you're gonna have 4 little black poles. We'll talk about how to work those and what those do. Everything else is similar. You get a stove. This is a very old stove. I've had this from the very beginning. And then you get the Sweat Tent XL. One of the biggest tips I can give you when you're setting it up for the first time to ensure you don't set it up inside out is to find the Sweat Tent logo. So I found mine, there's my Sweat Tent logo, and try to figure out where you want your stove. So I found my chimney hole, it's right over here. Depending on where you're setting it up, you might have some trees. The chimney does stick up, I wanna say 9 feet into the air. Just make sure you don't have any low-hanging trees that are too close so you don't accidentally have your chimney hole right where a tree is. With the XL, it matters a little bit more because once you have it up, you might need a couple friends with you if you are gonna move it around a little bit, but here we go. So right over here, we found the Sweat Tent logo. So that tells me this is the outside of the tent. We have our window, our viewing window, and we have our door. So once we figure that out, we're gonna actually just kind of move it to where we can see the top. You'll notice the top of mine is a different color because it does also come with a weatherproofer, which I had on my XL the whole time I've had it up. So it does show like the color of this fabric prior to the sun destroying it and beating it up, which isn't a problem. I mean, any sauna I've ever owned has changed colors with the sun here in Florida. All of the super expensive cedar saunas, every sauna I have, as long as it's not painted or sealed, has had some color change because of the sun. So now we're gonna grab our silver sticks. These actually will end up going inside each other. There's like a little ball and a little hole that the ball goes into. This will actually have a little bit of tension and that will hold it together. And then this will slide over it, holding it all together. Once you have it built for the first time, and once again, I'm gonna link the full setup video at the end of this video, which I really think you should watch if you decide to purchase one of these, because I go over every little detail of the setup right out of the bag. So you're gonna get to see exactly what you need to do. But this is basically what the top is going to look like. So now we're gonna go over here and we're gonna set it, just literally, just set it on top. It's not too complicated, guys. We're gonna set it on top here. And this is where it gets really easy and really fun. Now we're gonna take 2 of our little black poles, and there's these 2 fins, basically like little flaps. And we're going to stick one of them through the flap and then into a little hole on this T. This basically all uses tension to hold everything together. So now we've got that in, and we're gonna do the other side. Boom, got a nice click in there. So we've got that side up. We're gonna go do the other side. So this is why you have this little ball, because at this point it's gonna get a little too tight for you to fit both of these in. Kind of set it up like a little T. You don't have to even have them connected yet. Just for this part, while you're getting these little black bars to actually get in there, because this is all using tension to keep this roof up. And it's so dang sturdy. All right, so now we've got the bars in. This is where we get to have a little bit of fun. It's not that hard, but it will take a little bit of effort. We're gonna connect these 2 poles, push them down. Just be careful you don't pinch yourself. Boom, it should just connect. And when you got it like that, you're gonna you're gonna wiggle this bar and then pull it until both of these are clicked, and that's what holds it straight. The roof is essentially set up now. Now we get to erect it using one of your legs that has a little rubber stopper at the bottom. Same thing, it's super easy. So we're gonna find this there's a little tip that goes right into this little T-bar hole. Boom, boom. And now we're gonna just find the spot where it clicks. There's this little Velcro. We're just gonna connect it just to make it easier. And then at the very bottom, there's a little pin inside of an O-ring that you actually stick inside this pole. Now this is a lot easier with a friend, just gonna be honest. It's a lot easier if you have somebody here helping you do this. But I don't. Most of my videos you see, most of my reviews, it's just me. But that's about to change. For those of you watching who care, my wife is actually going to do this with me in about 3 days. She'll be done with school, it'll be summer, and she'll be in a lot more of my videos. She has her own channel. I'll have a link down below if you want to support that. It'd be awesome. If you're a guy and you want a woman's perspective, or if you're a woman and you want a woman's perspective, it's gonna be really cool. All right, same thing over here. Boom, boom. All right, so you see that that is up. All right, so you might notice that the Sweat Tent XL is not standing up perfectly. That's because I haven't put in the stakes yet. I almost just chopped off my toe. So these right here are a must when it comes to the XL, just as part of the setup. With the standard, you will also get stakes, and you can use these obviously if it's a windy area and you want to make sure your tent doesn't blow away, if the weather's a little uncontrollable or there's going to be some gusts. Definitely use these. I'll show you how to do it. When it comes to the XL, these are a must. You have to use these stakes to pin down the corners to keep it up. So we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick. So I'll start over here, start at a corner, pick a corner. I'd slide, there's like a little piece of fabric in there. We're fine, I think right here looks good. You can use a mallet, obviously, that would be better. So the XL takes just a little more work to get fully set up, but it does fit a lot more people, so that might be good. If I can do this by myself, anyone can do this with a friend. I'm also in some super thin dirt. Almost perfect. This thing is massive. This thing is huge. And now you get to finagle a little bit more, tighten it up as much as you want to, and raise it as much as you want to too. Okay, so now that we've got both of the tents totally set up, we haven't put the stoves in or set up the benches yet, but now that we have both of these set up, let's go ahead and talk about the true differences between both. Everything for the most part is similar. Both of them come with a 1-year warranty. Both of them come with 2-day free shipping. Both of them are made out of the exact same material, and both of them can reach 200+ degrees in 30 minutes using no electricity. They're both portable and they're both awesome. But the biggest key difference is, right now the Sweat Tent Standard is priced at $2,099, and that comes with everything you need to get hot. That is also before you use my discount code, which is down in the description below. But they do have a Pro Bundle, which is $23.99 at time of recording this video before discount, and that comes with the bench and a few other awesome accessories. And I definitely recommend going with the Pro Bundle. I actually recommend purchasing 2 of the benches, but we'll talk about it here in a second. This one can comfortably fit 4 to 6 people, but that's the key difference. Now, if we switch gears and look at the XL, other than the fact that it did take a little bit more time and effort to erect the tent and get it set up, this can easily accommodate parties of 10 people. And it's really not that much more expensive. This is currently listed at $25.99 for the standard bundle and only $28.99 for the Pro Bundle. Now that does only come with 1 bench. I would definitely recommend, if I was purchasing this and I wanted to have big sauna parties, I would probably get 3 to 4 of their benches, because there's plenty of room inside there. Now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and set up the stoves in both of these tents. Go ahead and bring the rocks in here. Take this top off and just set it right here for now. All right, so we're gonna set the stove up against this little fabric here and try to line up the chimney with the hole up top. Now, I like to leave 2 of the pieces of chimney off, so I can slide it through easily and line it up. Just fits right in there. That looks nice and good. Now we've got this little piece sticking out, and we just slide the rest of it in. And there we go. And now the last thing we're gonna do is bring one of our benches inside. So if you get the bundle that doesn't have the bench, you're gonna need to get a bench. Otherwise, you're gonna be standing or sitting on the ground, and that's no fun. And then we'll take our rocks, and we're ready to fire this baby up. After you have the rock station built, you're gonna notice that one side is gonna have like a little vent. The other side is gonna be solid here. Have the solid side next to the chimney. This way, when you pour water on the rocks, any water that makes its way to the bottom can drain out the backside here and not pool on top of the stove. All right, now let's set up the stove and the XL. I love that the door is bigger in the XL. It just makes it a little easier to get in. Same thing, try to line up your stove. It's got these folding legs, so make sure they're out. There we go. So I'm gonna straighten this up. Get it looking right. Stove is hooked up. Let's bring the rocks in. Got the rocks, same thing. And now let's bring in our bench. These folding benches are clutch. So how these work is they literally fold flat and you just click, click, and that's it. Then you set it wherever you want it. Closer to the stove is gonna be hotter. And now all we have to do to turn this thing on is get some wood, put it in the stove, start it up, and let it heat up. Now we've got both of the sweat tents completely set up. And obviously, like, filming and setting these up by myself, it's a little more difficult than if I was to have a friend or if I wasn't filming and trying to make sure I show you all these things. So just know that what you've witnessed me do, it's actually easier in person, and it's easier if you're not trying to film it and get all the little pieces. I do want to go over a couple more things that you're going to want to have in mind when you're deciding between either of these sweat tent saunas. This right here is one of the little anchors to anchor the tent down. Now, once again, I mentioned a couple times, these are tents, so when you have the doors closed, they're a little less airy, obviously, but when you have the doors open like this, like if a big gust of wind came, it might grab my tent and move it around. That's where these are gonna come in clutch. On the regular standard sweat tent, at all 4 angles, there's a little hole on the corner, and you can slide this anchor in and push it into the ground. There's also at every corner, there's another little tie down that you can get some rope, get some string or whatever, and you can tie these to bushes or trees or other anchors if you really want to anchor it down. There's even an anchor point at the top of the sweat tent, on the corners of the sweat tent. There are anchor points all over this thing. So even though it is a portable sauna and it is super lightweight, you can anchor this to the ground just like a normal tent and keep it from blowing away even in the craziest of storms. Now, if a storm is coming, taking these down is even easier than setting them up, which is a nice thing. You can take them down, move them out of the way as quickly as you need to. With the Sweat Tent XL, anchoring them down, you have to put all 4 of the corners down just to erect the tent and get it upright. But there are additional anchor points all around the sweat tent as well, where you can anchor it down to the ground, anchor it to a tree, and keep it from blowing away in the event there's a big storm coming. Once again, I just want to reiterate that these aren't difficult to take completely down. So if there's a big thunderstorm coming and the wind's going to be crazy, I would encourage you to just go ahead and take them down or move them to a safe location. You don't want them to blow away, that would suck. But just know that I have had both of these up during some pretty crazy storms and they've stayed up, which is awesome. Now that I showed you how easy it is to set up the sweat tents, let's talk about some frequently asked questions and help to determine which one is for who, so you can determine which one is for you. The first question is, how often am I going to be taking this down or taking this with me? If the answer is a lot and I don't have a massive party, I would definitely go with the sweat tent standard. It's just so easy. Everything's built in. It's super easy to take down, super easy to put back up. It's lightweight, it doesn't take up a lot of space. And if you're looking for anywhere under 6 people, this is a really fun sauna to bring with you. It's a really cool sauna too. However, if I had a large party and it was something that I wanted more people to enjoy, if I was maybe a CrossFit gym and I wanted to have a portable sauna that people could try out and set up, granted you will, I would say more than likely need ground, not asphalt. You are gonna wanna anchor the corners into the ground. This would be a really fun one too because you can fit a lot more people. It says up to 10, you could easily fit more than 10 people. And a lot of people ask, how do you get the sauna to 200 degrees in 30 minutes? My rule of thumb, I live in Florida, so it's kind of hot already, but even throughout the winter, my rule of thumb is I would take fire starter and 2 logs and I would put them into the stove. Get the fire started going and get the logs nice and hot. Once those 2 logs are hot, the sauna should typically get to about 160 to 180 degrees. The key is 3 logs. If you can throw 3 logs in there, you will easily get this sauna to 200 degrees. Now, I'm not talking about 2 already burnt embered logs and then throw a third in there. I'm talking 3 logs feeding that fire. There's also an adjustable airflow at the bottom that catches the ashes. Try to have that about 3/4 of the way open. You want oxygen flowing in there. That's gonna help create a bigger fire and a hotter stove. With a hotter stove is gonna come a hotter sweat tent. So a lot of people have different ideas of how many logs they should throw in there, what type of wood they should put in there, and how they should have the vent actually opened up. I say have as much fresh oxygen going through there as possible and keep feeding that fire. If you don't have it as hot as you want, you might want to look at the different woods that you're using. European birch wood happens to be one of the better woods that burn in the sweat tent. There's a few other woods that you can use. I typically just grab whatever firewood is at Publix, which isn't the greatest wood, but it burns really, really well and it gets my fire really, really hot. Just know that 3 logs is your friend as long as they're cut nice and small and you can get them in there. And oxygen is also your friend. It's going to help keep that fire burning nice and hot, getting that stove nice and hot. However, if you get it too hot, that's where opening the doors is gonna come into play. I also suggest keeping the vents open inside your sweat tent so you can keep fresh air flowing throughout that tent so that when you are enjoying the sauna, you're getting fresh air in there as well. Listen, at this point in the video, I do wanna ask you as the viewer if there's any questions that you have that I have not answered. To me, making a video like this is helpful because it shows the process of putting both of these tents up next to each other and you can really determine which one's best for you. The price of both isn't drastically different, but the price of a 10-person sweat tent sauna versus a 10-person standard sauna, I mean, you got to put an extra digit in there. They're very, very expensive. Saunas are typically very, very expensive, especially when you get into the larger group saunas. So the fact that you have an option where you can fit 10 people inside a very hot sauna and it's portable is pretty awesome. But I will say this, I love the Sweat Tent XL. Personally, I'm a huge, massive fan of the standard sweat tent. So if I was watching this video and I didn't have a massive group of people that I wanted to get into the sweat tent, personally, I would get this. You really can't beat it for the price. And if you use discount code MOSS100, saves you a little extra money. And there's a link in the video description so you can easily get there and it'll automatically apply that discount. And like I mentioned, if you have a question, pop it in the comments below. I will do my absolute best to answer every single question that you have. But I do want to say this, if you are interested in getting a sweat tent sauna, just do it. You can't go wrong. I don't know anybody who's bought a sweat tent sauna who regrets that decision. It's one of the best decisions I have, and I absolutely love bringing my sweat tent with me when I go on vacations that I'm driving to. But other than that, I just want you to know I appreciate you so much for watching this video. I'll see you on the next ones. I'm gonna have the full review of the XL pop-up here and the full review of the standard pop-up here. So whichever one interests you more, click on one of these 2 videos so that you can get even more information in every single detail. I appreciate you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day, my friends, and God bless.